Greetings. Welcome to day 13 of the 31 Days of Tarot Challenge 2019. And our prompt today was, I have it on paper here, I don't want to get mixed up. From the major Arcana cards, what card correlates to your sun, moon, and rising sign, excuse me, and how has that resonated or played out in your life? I think that's an interesting, really interesting prompt. But before I tell you my card and how it has played out in my life, I want to say, make sure everybody's on board with what we mean by the sun, the moon, and the ascendant. What we're talking about is the chart, the picture of the sky, so to speak, of where everything, the positions of the planets, different planets in our sky in relationship to each other at the time of my birth. 100 years ago. No, at the time of my birth. And the difference is what they mean to us in our life, how our sun, moon, and ascendant relate, influence our lives are in a little bit of a different way. Our sun has to do, the sun sign is what you say to somebody when you say, what is your sign? Hey baby, what's your sign? People usually mean your sun sign, which is kind of interesting to me because the sun sign is the sign that has to do with what they call your ego self. It is your perception of you, how you see yourself, what motivates you. But it seems to be an internal, how I see myself. So I think that's kind of interesting. That's the way we kind of relate to everybody by saying, oh yeah, she's a Pisces. Oh, he's a Taurus, Oh, he's on fire. He's an Aries. Well, he might be, but, this is, again, it is your ego self. It's an internal thing. The moon has to do with what some people call your soul self. How you react to things. What kind of thoughts are in your mind? What you might be feeling. What kind of feelings that you have. Did somebody hurt your feelings? How do you react when you're threatened? How do you react when you're scared? What makes you feel jealousy or whatever. Okay, those are things that usually take place inside, okay, in our thoughts and feelings. Sometimes we make those very evident outside, okay. Sometimes they come out and we can't, and sometimes we keep them hidden. So it's kind of interesting. The ascendant or rising sign has to do with your public self, how other people see you, how you might achieve your goals, for instance. Are you an aggressive player? Are you somebody who, talks out of both sides of your mouth at the same time? Or do people think you are, are you somebody that people can trust? It has to do with your image, but it has to do really with what you show other people. It might be completely different than what you think about yourself. You might not, that's when you get the feelings of, why am I so misunderstood? Why am I so misunderstood? It's probably because you're showing people a side of you that, you didn't realize you're showing them. Okay. So anyway, what card does that traditionally mean? Well, each of these different, each of the major arcana is associated with some kind of a, with each of these things, okay? In my case, it might not be quite as interesting because in my case, I am what is called a triple Cancer. My sun was in Cancer, my moon was in Cancer, my ascendant was in Cancer. I got the bingo of Cancer. So, on the surface it might appear simplistic and we might be finished at that and say that my one card is, yes, number 7, the Chariot. This is from my hoi polloi deck that I've had with me since it was copyrighted in 1972, so I think I got this right before I was married. When I was still in college. It's pretty much the same. I was looking at it to see what the imagery was on the card, how it different, and I think it's pretty close. There's some things missing. I have a little description here of the Rider-Waite, traditional Rider-Waite description of the card. So I'm just going to show you this. I'm going to see how it lines up, if it's the same. Because the images are kind of what is representing the different aspects of my personality, supposedly. Okay, so it says here, the Chariot Tarot depicts a figure sitting inside a vehicle that is being driven by 2 black and white sphinxes. And we see a dark and a light sphinx, so that's good. I don't know if he's sitting inside. I think in a chariot he's standing, and he looks like he's standing because his posture is very erect in both versions, so I don't know that I like the description. I think he's standing. At any rate, the whole card itself has a bit of, it says here, the whole card has a bit of a celestial influence. The figure sits underneath a blue canopy adorned by white stars. Our canopy is plain here. On his shoulders he carries the sign of the crescent moon, which he does on both shoulders. He does. It's pretty hard to see here because they're dark blue with purple coloring, but instead of the white, but they're definitely there. They even have little faces on them, which is kind of cute. Those represent the spiritual influence under which he's guided. On his head sits a crown, meaning that he's enlightened and his will is pure. And here we have a star on the crown. Emblazoned on his chest is a square, and that is there. Denoting the element of earth of the material world which grounds him and his actions. The sphinxes are colored in black and white, a symbol of opposing forces, and the charioteer must learn to control. Here they are calm, but they frequently get into scuffles as they seem to want to move in different directions. His task is to guide these sphinxes toward a destination, one that is marked by the cosmic forces he represents. Okay, well, that's kind of interesting. But one thing, you know, that we want to say about the Chariot card is my feeling of the Chariot card always has been that it works really well if everything is in balance. It has to be in balance. The sphinxes have to be going, or horses, or whatever they are depicted in, what animal they are depicted as in your card, in your deck. Even though they're facing different directions, in order for it to move forward, they've got to be facing the same direction. As soon as they go off half-cocked in different directions, it's going to be a mess. So maintaining balance is a really important issue with the Chariot. But if things are in balance, things are focused, and the charioteer, as they call him, is in control. Even though he does not have any rein in his hand, he has a wand. So he seems to be very much in control. As long as he's able to keep his focus, keep in control, he's a force to be reckoned with. But also in the reading, there's also caution in any reading that he's vulnerable from the side. Anybody's seen Ben-Hur, he's vulnerable from the back, from the rear as well. So, you know, he's not out of danger. He's not out of danger. At any time, there can be something coming at him that he's not to realign himself and refocus himself and continue on. Okay, so that's the overall feel of the card, the Chariot. How does that play out in my life? Well, how does it play out in my life? Well, first of all, the sun being in Cancer talks to me, and I've got my horoscope here in front of me, but so excuse me if I keep looking down. I'm trying to keep my thoughts straight, what I want to say. But the sun being in Cancer talks about having a very intuitive understanding of things around me. And that is very true about me. I am an empath. I'm very sensitive to things that are around me. As long as my needs are being met, as long as, according to this, I can be quite generous and giving, but only when my needs are being met. If they are not met, you tend to withdraw into yourself, become very insecure. Okay. Etc. Okay. That is the same way as we see in this Chariot card. Just as I described, as long as everything is grounded, everything is focused, everything is in order, all the pieces are lining up as they should, all the boxes are all checked. Horse is going the same direction, check. Focus, you know, maintaining focus, maintaining concentration, check, check, check. As soon as something comes from the side, as soon as something comes out of the side, or if I lose the picture of what's around me, it can all go to hell. It can all go to hell. And that's really true of Cancer. And that's why Cancer has, a lot of Cancers have like, it's kind of a reputation. You know, they're, oh my goodness, they're very emotional. They go from being very happy to very sad. Well, yeah, they do, because they're very, you know, we're very vulnerable to being in balance. You know, usually, I don't have them on this time, but wouldn't you know it? But usually, you see me, my bracelets, I usually keep 2 bracelets I wear all the time. They happen to be right here. If I can find the other one. Yes, you see, I wear different kind of bracelets, but this is Moss of Entry. I wear these all the time, and they're identical bracelets, and these are my grounding bracelets. When I feel a need for grounding, this is what I go to. So you'll see me like this a lot of times. Thank you. Universe, whoever you are. Excuse me, it seems time for, must be time for my medicine. Excuse me. Okay, okay. Anyway, this is why, one of the reasons you'll see me wearing these bracelets all the time. It keeps me, they help keep me grounded. Even if I have other ones on with them, I wear these as well. Especially when I'm going out someplace, always, pretty much always when I'm going out, especially if I'm going in a place that's new, and I feel like I'm kind of going to be vulnerable to whatever the situation is. Okay, so that's one way that the Chariot plays a part in my life. Yeah, that's the question. I was just checking to make sure that was the question. Okay, now we're talking about the moon. The moon in Cancer. It's my horoscope here tells me. For the most part, I'm strong, secure emotionally. I intuitively know what to do to make others feel comfortable, etc. I enjoy to feed people, take care of people. But sometimes the mothering can turn to smothering. And also sometimes I tend to feel that those who are attached to me can never do anything without my assistance and my support. Well, I found that very interesting because in the some descriptions of this card, we see that this great concentration, this great, you know, great sense of intuition, great sense of having, you know, being so intuitive and in tune with those things around me. So this can lead to, the danger here is that we might have a tendency towards either coming across as really too aggressive or too controlling. This control can go too far. The need to be able to control and keep everything from knocking us off our balance, keeping so focused and wanting everything just so we continue to go forward, continue to go after what it is we're seeking. That need for that sometimes keeps us so focused that we appear to be too controlling. Okay? That we appear to be so controlling that we can be smothering. We can be, well, I'll do it for you. Oh, I want it done a certain way, so I'll do it. Oh, let me do it. Let me do it. I'll do it for you. Okay. But yet at the same time, we want people to love us. So that kind of, we have this desperate need for love. So we go out of our way to help people. It appears that we are doing too much or we're smothering them, and so people draw away from us. So we have this dichotomy, this thing, you know, we're shooting ourselves in the foot a lot with relationships, shooting ourselves in the foot a lot. Okay, with you know, our goals, trying to reach our goals, okay? So the moon, our intuition is very, very strong and really helps us. I know what you need. I probably know better than you do what you need, kind of a feeling it could lead to. We read in people when we think, you know, we also have this strong intuition that we think, oh, I feel like, you know, no matter what I do is not good enough. It's not that no matter what I do is not good enough. It's like, maybe you just wish I'd stop doing it and let you do it yourself. Okay? So there's those kind of dichotomies. That's working all the time in our lives because of this strong connection to the moon. We have a strong connection to the moon, this intuition of ours, and it's constantly changing. We know that we follow the moon all the time, right? It's constantly changing. So with that, our feelings are constantly changing. We have mood swings, okay? But again, it has to do with, oh my goodness, this was working as long as we're going this way. But what happens when something new comes into the picture real fast? It throws everything off balance again, including my emotions, including my decision-making experience, etc. Okay, now how does it affect my ascendant? Okay, we look at the ascendant, a rising, which is also called the rising sign, and it talks about our sensitivity and how we like things to be the same. Yes, we're the kind of people that will sit in the same seat. We sat in the first night of class, we sit in that seat every week because we like to be where we're familiar. We don't easily open up. We don't make changes too easily in our lives. When we make a friend, we want to make it forever. And again, when we're feeling really good, we are gentle, we're giving, etc. But when we feel insecure, when we feel threatened, the first thing that we do is we withdraw. We become moody. We might become overly sensitive to criticism. We might be overly shy. We might be withdrawn, etc. Okay? This constant, this is coming back to that. This is the part of that people understand as the crab in his shell. The Cancer is the crab, represented by the crab. And the crab is crusty on the outside, and he might look very, very crusty, and that nothing can hurt him because he has a very strong shell. But inside, he's very soft and tender. He's got big claws. He can hurt you. He can hurt you. He can hurt you. But they're right here. Where is he vulnerable? He's vulnerable on his belly. He's very vulnerable from the side, right? He can be crushed. He can be picked up and put in a pot. Oh, how sad. Anyway, do you see the point? Okay, so that's the way the Chariot plays a part in my life. And I know the question had only to do with the major arcana, but I do want to just point out. I want to point out something that I'm a big believer in the fact that the minor arcana is so important. We should not underestimate the minor arcana, because the minor arcana, even though it represents the small things, you know, the major arcana is the big stuff, right? The big stuff in our lives. The minor arcana is the everyday stuff, And, you know, we deal with every day. Every day makes a big difference in our lives. And the everyday stuff, that's what really makes our life, that everyday stuff. And for somebody like a Cancer, who is constantly, you know, being thrown off balance, constantly trying to refocus, constantly trying to reorganize themselves, you know, constantly, you know, being misunderstood, constantly being afraid, or being jealous, or being, you know, shy. People think, they're such friendly people. We're dying on the inside. We're shy. What if you give us the first sign that you don't want to see us or don't want to be with us, we'll go home. You know, we'll just withdraw. We'll say, I'm never going back there again. Oh, they didn't like me. I'm never going back there again. Why would you say that? Oh, I could just tell. I could tell they didn't like me. Okay, so it's the everyday stuff that can break us. So I wanted to say I was very interested. I was also in the minor arcana too. And of course they have to do with they have to do with the suit of cups. And I don't know why. I want to try to fix it the other day. I kept saying hearts instead of cups. I don't know why I did it. And then I wanted to try to edit it to put a little text on the screen, and I don't know how people do that. So I just have to look like an idiot and say hearts. But you know I mean cups. It just is in my head. But anyway, so there's a couple cards in the suit of cups that also are, correlate to the to my chart, because in addition to the sun, the moon, and the semi-ascendant being in Cancer, I also have Venus in Cancer and Mercury in Cancer. Okay, so that's five planets in Cancer in my birth chart. Okay, so the Venus in Cancer. Oh, and so what I want to do, I just want to show you real quick. I have a couple cards I want to show you from the Deviant Moon, because the Deviant Moon is the deck. Number one, it is the deck that I am working with for the month of January. And, oh, I'm loving it, I have to say. But also, it is a good deck. One of the reasons I'm working with it is it's good shadow work. You know, it's really good. For me, it's good shadow work. And I'm paying special attention when the cards come up to both meanings of the cards, to what the card is reversed as well as upright. I'm looking at them when examining some things for shadow work, and that's really telling me a lot. So anyway, I thought it would be good for this too. I thought I would just put something in there about this. The Venus in Cancer. Okay, Venus in Cancer talks about how much I like, you tend to like to be very close to other people, and I need emotional support and are willing to give it to others. When you feel unloved and insecure, you can be very jealous and very possessive. You're not interested in casual or superficial relationships. Only deep emotional involvements interest you. Okay, etc. That's really kind of true of me. I mean, it doesn't mean that I don't want to have casual friends. I do. But I just really like to get to know the person. I'd rather have the kind of person who'd rather have a few really close friends and a lot of acquaintances. I find myself with lots and lots, I think I've said that before, lots and lots and lots and lots of acquaintances. And I do enjoy them, and they're very important to me. But really, people that I let see the inside of me. Very few people. Very few people. But anyway, I was interested in this because this is the card that correlates with having Venus in Cancer is the Two of Cups. And here's the image of the Two of Cups in the Deviant Moon. And the Two of Cups here talks about, here's the description. Midnight has been tempted by death, and a pact has been made between the two lovers. Raising two cups, they toast the bond of their union. So it is this coming together. This is harmony, this partnership, no matter what. And the reversal of this would be broken relationships or conflicting interests or false love. And I really like this so much because as soon as this is something that I can see I can see resonating in my life, because I really feel insecure. I have known some people for a really, really long time, and for whatever reason, we just don't ever go beyond this acquaintance level, and that kind of makes me feel very insecure. It really does. Like, am I not? You know, I've told on my channel. I don't want to tell them again, but I've told some stories about some of those things that have happened to me, situations where, for whatever reason, I feel like sometimes I'm just being held at a distance in my relationship, and so I tend to go into the dark side with that. I tend to, the bad jealousy comes out, or really, like if they do have a close friend and somebody else, I can maybe display some jealousy that I shouldn't have anything to do with. So that has happened in my life. So that's something, hopefully I'm growing out of that, but I'm kind of still there. I have Mercury in Cancer as well, and Mercury in Cancer talks about the difficulty with seeing life objectively. Having a good memory, especially about things to which you formed an emotional bond. But I prefer ideas and thoughts that are known and familiar. Therefore, I tend to dislike fads. Your thinking becomes quite unclear when you're emotionally shaken. Try not to make a major decision when you're upset. Let things calm down first. And I thought this was really funny because the Three of Cups, this correlates to the Three of Cups. And in the Deviant Moon particularly, I thought this was so funny because when I first saw this card, I couldn't help but think about, Rub-a-dub-dub, Three Men in the Tub. And when you read this, I almost didn't see the whole card. I almost just see this part of the card. The three of them, they're on the water and they're floating around on the water and they're celebrating. And that's the part that I didn't really see, that I only saw. But now when I read the description of the card, all of a sudden I'm seeing the whole thing. And I see it say, three merry souls celebrate their deliverance as they emerge from the inside of a fearsome sea creature. In spite of personality differences, the trio toast their good fortune, which was once a dark situation, has finally been overcome. Well, I didn't even notice the stupid fearsome sea creature. So this is kind of what we're talking about here. I'm all ready to jump in and have a great, let's party. Okay, let's party, right? Whatever's past is past, let's party. Meanwhile, where are we still? We're emerging from the mouth of the fearsome sea creature, but I see that we're still in the mouth of the fearsome sea creature. I don't think it's quite time to celebrate. I don't think it's quite time. So there might be a little bit of jumping to conclusion, maybe before we get there. My emotion was ruling my thought process, and I was having difficulty seeing life objectively. I think this is kind of the way that it's played out for me here. So I kind of thought that was cute. That was kind of interesting. The last one I wanted to talk about was there is a minor arcana. Not the last one, I have two more. There's another card in the minor arcana that relates to Cancer, and that would be the Four of Cups. And that relates to having the moon in Cancer. And in, the right away, we see this, we kind of call it the bored. He's like bored. He looks like, oh, he's bored with what he has. Well, here she's not so much bored. She doesn't look so bored to me. You might see it at first glance to be bored, but anyway, what do we see here? When I look in the book here about the Four of Cups, it describes this as, alone by the glow of the deviant moon, a maiden has locked herself onto her balcony. Dissatisfied with life's gifts, she apathetically tosses a golden cup into the sea. Okay, so this is, where does this come from? There's the difference between how we're looking at your station in life, your position in life. Are you succeeding and just being unhappy, even though you have succeeded? Because her cups are full, and as we can see, as she's throwing it overboard, off the edge of the balcony, it's spilling. So she was, she wasn't satisfied with what she had. She always wanted something different. She was disappointed in what she had. And, it could be boredom, but it also could be that there's something new coming. There's something new coming. And I had my finger on it. I kind of had my finger on it, because look, you're coming at the bottom. I don't know if you can see it or not. I apologize if you cannot. But there's a sailboat on the water below. Okay. It either has brought her something or it has taken away something. Not sure. But being on the water, it implies that there's always something new going to be coming. There's always new coming. There's movement in the water. There's very much movement in the water. You can see it. It's not still at all. Okay. So it's not somebody purely just resting under a tree and not paying attention to anything, couldn't care less. She's actively taking part of maybe just throwing, saying goodbye to something that's old and welcoming something that's new. And I have a tendency to do this. When I'm done with something, I'm done. I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to move on. I don't like to do a gradual, I'm going to I'll put up Christmas decorations and I'll enjoy Christmas decorations, but as soon as it's over, I want them out of there. I want to start the next thing. So that's how this has played out in my life. Once it's done, it's done. The last card I want to talk about in the minor arcana is the King of Cups, and we see the King of Cups often associated with Cancer. And what I liked about the King of Cups, particularly, is the King of Cups is described. I think the court cards in the and how they relate to tarot, their title, whatever in there, they talk about being the Earth of Cups, the Air of Cups, the Fire of Cups, the Water of Cups, and the Fire of Cups. The King is known as the Fire of Cups, which is the fire is the passion, right? And here the description is, the insightful king stands proudly on a sand dune. His kingdom by the sea has benefited from his intuitive leadership and creativity. A trading vessel sails across the horizon as a spiritual star shines upon its earthly counterpoint. Again, the same moving water, the same little ship in the background, another little ship in the background. And it is talking about this creativity, this, again, the creativity. But this is a, his intuition and his creativity as a mastery position. He's mastered this. He's, his ability, you know, that it relates to the skill. It is the outcome of, you know, it is the everyday realization when we're working in the right direction. When we're working in the right direction, we're working focused, our creativity flows. And the creativity, how it relates to me is as soon as I get off balance, the first thing that happens is my creativity goes down the drain. The very first thing that happens. You know, I can't be lucky enough to be somebody when I'm kind of depressed that I can't eat. Because I can always eat. But when I'm depressed, I can't do art. Some people, some of their best art is done when they're depressed. Not me. I have to have this sense of balance, sense of grounding, right? Sense of where I'm going, who I am in order to do my work. I have to be this guy to do my work. So anyway, that was a little longer than I meant it to be, but I thought I was kind of excited to get into it because most things that have to do with your top three, your big three in astrology end up to be somewhat boring when people talk to me about it, because Cancer, oh yeah, it's in Cancer. Cancer, it's in Cancer. Oh, you're triple Cancer. Not interesting. Not interesting. I think I'm very interesting. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Rebecca. Thank you for watching, and thank you to the universe for sending this to me, and I wish you blessings.